Well, bam! Time for our very first Seiko on this hobby of ours. Welcome back. This is, it's funny, I was thinking about doing this video today. It's raining, so it's kind of gloomy. But as I was thinking about, putting a Seiko up, all my Seikos are rare birds. I love that, never intended it. But this one is the Seiko Credor Phoenix, and that most beloved of metals, titanium. All right, check it. Rainy day, rain all day. Let the sun take a holiday. Let it drain all your worries away. Lay back and dream on a rainy day. Lay back and groove on a rainy day. Do not quit your day job. I wanted to be a singer when I was younger. Not for the right reasons. Got tons of bravado and just like little to zero talent, certainly in that space. All right, talking about Seiko today. I don't know why it's taken me so long. Just, do this, do that. But it's fitting that this Seiko Credor Phoenix titanium is the first one I'm showing. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite watches. I think this watch looks so cool. If that's a thing. I just think it looks great. I think it's probably the handset. The handset on this chronograph is just pretty unique. Basically, they're sword hands, but I love them. I think they're gorgeous. And Seiko USA and Seiko Japan have had this watch for months, since before I even started making videos here. And it just came back. This isn't the first time I've owned this watch. I forget how I found this piece. Probably just cruising Seiko listings on eBay or something. They make it in steel as well. They make it with a white dial as well. I just remembered that I had that one too. The white one, I sold it. Okay, the first one I bought was in titanium. Got it for a steal. And I had to return it. All these are out of the JDM. These are pretty much Japanese domestic only models. Late, I think it's 1999, 2000 when these came out, so they're older. But the bracelet clasp wasn't staying shut. Like, you'd bend your wrist a little and it would pop it open. So I had to return it. I was so sad because I got it at such a great price. And then I bought it on steel because I couldn't find the titanium at a good price. And it's heavier on steel. It's far heavier. And it's just a heavy Chevy. And so I flipped that one, made a little money on it. Kept hunting, started missing it. And then the white dial one came up. And so I bought it. Foolishly bought it because it's a case of where you buy something because you want something else as a placeholder. And for the life of me, I could not read that dial. It's the exact same thing, different color scheme. Looked beautiful. I couldn't tell the time on the watch. And yeah, I do need glasses, but not the point. So I flipped it. I either got out of it or I made a little on that one. And then just kept hunting. And the part numbers for the steel versus the titanium, they only differ by one digit. And these are only available out of Japan. And one came up from one of my favorite sellers. It had some issues with it. It had double AR coating on the crystal, which is insane. You do not need AR coating on the outside of the crystal. It only gets injured and you can't repair it. So if anybody knows why they do that, let me know. Watchmakers are getting away from doing it now, I've noticed. So the watch came in. I got it at a bit of a discount because of some of the... It looked like it had some fogging under the crystal. I'm like, I'm a watchmaker. I could totally take that apart and wipe it and it'll be all better. Charlie Murphy. Wrong. But it didn't stop me. So I got the watch in. I took it apart, dropped the movement, got a Q-tip, had my little gloves on, and wiped the inside of the crystal clean. Oh, perfect. That's all it needed. Except when I went to put the movement back in. And there's these little brackets or braces that hold the movement steady within the case. And they are screwed into the back of the movement, and they stick out and they wedge into a little slot in the case. And I was just having a bear of a time. I think I had to drop that movement twice to get it right. Second time on the install, I thought, you know what, I'll just install the crown and crown stem, and that will totally hold it steady. Wrong. Ended up snapping the crown stem. Dummy. You big dummy. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, Seiko USA, I could totally send it to them. I mean, I needed a crown replaced on my Fortis Cosmonaut, and I sent it to the US-based Fortis Service Center. $150, not bad. So I'm figuring, oh, beautiful, I'm in and out on this. Nope. Sent it to Seiko USA, and they don't work on this movement. And so I wrote them back, you don't need to work on this movement. You need to order a part and have your US-based watchmakers put it in. Or better yet, ship me the part, I can put it in. No, has to go to Japan. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, so much for any savings on the watch that I got initially, right? No savings. So I figured it was like $150 to ship it and have it looked at. Agony. And then they get it, and they are refusing to replace the crown stem without doing a full service. Refusing. They were saying that the crown stem parts got all into the movement. I don't think that happened because I was able to remove the crown stem, well, at this point, both pieces of the crown stem from the movement just fine. Needed a new crown and new stem. I actually tried finding it online. Ridiculous. You're not going to find that part, D. So I sent it in and had to pay for a full service. Yikes. I love me some Seiko, but dang Seiko, that wasn't right, man. That was not right. So, months, and I'm embarrassed to say how much it cost me. I don't want to say it was high. Snoop Dogg high. All right. And came back. And the crystal had the same exact fogging pattern as before. As before when I tried to fix it. I was very upset. Contacted them. I'm like, hey, I'm looking through your service report, and it showed that the crystal was evaluated and fine. It is clearly not fine. So they said, okay, ship it back. They sent me a label this time. Thankfully, they sent it back. They took care of it for free. They ended up replacing the crystal with one that only had AR coating on the underside. Brilliant. Finally. Yada, yada, yada. Months and months, it finally came back in, and I missed this watch. This watch, especially in the titanium, ultralight, as you know, love that stuff. That gunmetal gray of titanium just looks so good. Looks cool. Is cool. Makes me feel cool. No, not really. I'm just kidding. But it brings and I'm going to show the case back as well. The case back's pretty cool too. It's because it's called the Phoenix. It's got a raised relief. Is it an embossment or if it's a relief? I think embossment is when it goes in, but if something sticks out, it's called a relief. I don't know. That's some art stuff. But it sticks out. Like if you wore this watch too tight, at the end of the day, you would have the mark of the Phoenix on your wrist, which would be kind of cool too. But Seiko Credor. Talk about an identity crisis. Seiko, King Seiko, Grand Seiko, Seiko Credor, just Credor. New Grand Seiko that isn't Seiko, it's just Grand Seiko. Now Credor, but it's not Seiko or Grand Seiko, it's just Credor. Oh my gosh, identity crisis. So I think right now, today, the end of 2021, Credor is the highest level, Aichi 2, etc. And then comes going down Grand Seiko, and then regular Seiko, or Prospex, regular Seiko, Seiko 5. My goodness. I'm gonna have to do a flow chart. But for a while there, Credor was not branded as just Credor, it was Seiko Credor. And those watches are not uber expensive. There are some Seiko Credors, late 90s, early aughts, that are inexpensive. There's some quartz pieces, etc., that are affordable and nice quality. Actually, there's some other ones that are peer to this. The Seiko Brights with a Z, titanium pieces. If you can't find one of these have shot up quite a bit. The titaniums with full kit, etc. This was not full kit. This was didn't have all of its links. I think full kits are running 2.5, 3 now, which is a lot. I mean, this movement is an excellent movement, column wheel chronograph, that, as I was researching online, I believe was initially built for the Grand Seiko chronograph line, and for some reason they opted not to. There's the movement in this one and the movement in the Seiko Flightmaster automatics, which I am going to do a video on those because I have those. Really excited. What rare birds. It's either this movement or that movement that was designed, purposed, engineered, whatever. It was going to go into the Grand Seiko line, but they opted not to for whatever reason. So great movement. That movement actually got licensed to Tag. Tag Heuer has that movement in a couple of its pieces. I don't know if they're still using it, but they sold that or licensed it to Tag. That's a great movement too. It's got power reserve. Love me a power reserve. But this movement, it's actually pretty thin too, as I'm driving and looking at the watch on my wrist. What an idiot. You know, it's amazing I find my way out of the driveway some mornings. But it's great, and you can still find them. You can get the steel ones for around $1,500 or under. Right now, there's a titanium on eBay, mislabeled as a steel model. It's pretty beat up though. But I think they want 1.5 for it. I think I paid that or less for this one. And there's a couple other models in the line that are same case, slightly different movement, or slightly different. I don't think it's a chrono. If I'm being honest, I looked at it and I couldn't figure out what it was doing. It's like it might be GMT, because I think there were some world city abbreviations around the dial. I'm going to look into that watch. I'm feeling pretty satiated right now watch-wise. Plus, I generally try not to buy from November to December each year. Sounds pretty silly, but hear me out. I do most of my buying from eBay. I do a lot of my buying from Japan and overseas. If I can buy U.S. domestic, absolutely, unequivocally, the best. But if there's a problem, then it takes a while to come in, and then I get it, and then I either have to look at it or send it to my watchmaker for him to look at. And then by the time there's all that, oh, there's a problem, and I looked if I have to do return because it wasn't as described. Shipping over the holidays. About a year and a half ago, ran into a nightmare in the Philippines with a shipping thing. It was a PD. I got it in late October, like the last days of October, and it was messed up. In retrospect, I should have kept it and serviced it because those things are going for 3,500 4Gs now. But at the time, I opted to return it. Nightmare. And it's one of those things where the seller, they didn't have their current address on file with eBay. So I shipped it back to the address on file, and this seller, nut job, oh, that's the wrong address. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, that is the address you have on file. eBay policy says it took me months. I didn't get my money back after the claim until March or May of the following year. eBay was involved, PayPal was involved. They both actually failed. It was Visa who eventually defended my interest in it by then. But gosh, rambling. Seiko Credor. Yeah, it's unusual, that identity crisis of Seiko. But if you're interested in getting a Seiko chronograph, the movement, it's strange. Every now and then you find a watch that is heralded because of the movement inside, and people will hunt the watch. Maybe it's a brand that doesn't have a lot of cachet or prestige or whatever. I'm not talking about this watch in this breath. I'm talking about Baume & Mercier. I bought a Baume & Mercier chronograph years ago that had a JLC movement in it. That's why I got it. And it was a great watch, but it was big. It was epically huge. I thought I was going to get a chronograph about the size of a Reverso or thereabouts, square case. This thing, gosh, you have to be a giant man to wear this thing. But I got it at a steal. So it came in. I was like, what is this? It was so big. Beautiful watch, though. Absolutely beautiful watch. But the chronograph movement was a JLC movement. The watchmaker's watchmaker. Similarly, this watch, maybe this particular Seiko is not prestigious. Hardly anyone knows about this watch anymore, it seems. But the movement is excellent. I have to put up a shot of the movement too. The finishing, the performance is just great. And this is a rare bird. So always love sharing a rare bird with you. These can still be had. The thing you do, if you're going to hunt this watch, make sure that it's in pretty good condition, because if anything is wrong, you're going to pay $1,000 for a full service. There, I told you. Particularly the crystal. And the bracelet. As always, our good friends in the JDM, they've got smaller wrists there, speaking generally. And so you need to make sure you double check the links, because I don't think you can even get parts out of Seiko, like bracelet links, for this model anymore. So make sure that is that. And you might want to ask the seller if the clasp is firm and tight, or hey, is it working, right? And then, have a really cool piece. I'd be really surprised if I ever see one of these out in the wild. And yeah, you can check out the white dial one. Maybe your eyes are better than mine, and you could actually read the time off of it. I think I'm going to go on eBay and try to find the other one and figure out what that movement is doing with the World Cities or whatever. It looks like a chronograph. It's got a bunch of side pushers, but there's no sundials for a chronograph anyway. If I pick one of those up, maybe I'll do a follow-up video. In any case, rainy day, dream away. I'm gonna go see my brother. I'll see how he's doing this morning. So I hope you enjoyed this little hobby of ours together, and that got to introduce you to a cool new piece. Maybe you get one for yourself. All right, have yourself a great one.